Ukrainian forces decided to use this multi-story building as a temporary staging area. One of the Russian soldiers threw a backpack filled with anti-tank mines through the building's window. A powerful explosion destroyed the temporary staging area. One of the Ukrainian soldiers whose shelter had been hit went outside to look for a safe place, unaware that a Russian drone was following him. By the time he realized this, it was too late. A Russian reconnaissance drone operator spotted a camouflaged Ukrainian soldier in an open area. The coordinates were then relayed to the nearest munitions-carrying drone operator. What happened next unfolded. A FPV drone from the 25th Army locates another ATV vehicle belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces. One of the Russian drones found a Ukrainian soldier hiding inside a heavily damaged building. An ATV carrying 2 Ukrainian armed forces soldiers was captured by Russian drone crew. FPV drones belonging to the Sever Group ambushed Ukrainian armed forces personnel. The drones, which were waiting for the enemy in standby mode, immediately took off when they spotted the target and hit it with precision.
Don't forget to leave your opinion about the video in the comments, subscribe, and like.
It appears that all Ukrainian forces' vehicles have been destroyed on the Kherson highway. It is not really possible to hide from Russian FPV drones, even if the roads are blocked with nets. According to the Romanian Ministry of Defense, a Ukrainian naval UAV named Sea Baby was blown up in the Black Sea. It was reported that the UAV was sailing 36 nautical miles east of Constanta and posed a threat to maritime transport. Footage of the moment the Ukrainian UAV was blown up was broadcast on Romanian media. Footage of the Iskander-M missile hitting an administrative building. A Ukrainian soldier hid under a log to protect himself from Russian FPV drones, but the log wasn't enough to conceal him. Another extensive selection of images showing Ukrainian armed forces transport vehicles being destroyed by fighters arriving from the north. Russian UAVs are destroying motor vehicles and ground-based robotic systems in parking lots and while in motion. Follow us on Instagram for more videos. Footage of a large PVD belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces being destroyed by FABs in the Vilshana village area. How large could these FABs be? The International Max X Pro armored vehicle was found abandoned with its rear door open. It was wrecked after a series of FPV drone attacks. Southern Group forces carried out a precision strike with guided missiles on the Ukrainian armed forces' temporary staging area in Konstantinovka. A Ukrainian armed forces T-64 destroyed the crew of a Russian FPV drone. It was impossible for the tank to survive these attacks. Above Gulaipol, fighters from various units of the Vostok military group are distributing daily leaflets calling on enemy positions to cease resistance, withdraw from their positions, or surrender as soon as possible. Destruction of abandoned enemy equipment by an attack FPV drone operator belonging to the 71st Guards Motor Rifle Regiment in the direction of Zaporizhzhia. Destruction of enemy fuel supplies by operators of the 417th Separate Reconnaissance Battalion in the direction of Zaporizhzhia. Accurate strike on enemy infantry positions in Volchansk-Kutory. Russian heavy rocket artillery identified and destroyed numerous Ukrainian armed forces personnel in Volchansk-Kutory. A reconnaissance aircraft recorded an enemy combat group of up to 10 people entering one of the administrative buildings, which was then struck with high-precision weapons. Kharkiv Oblast destroyed 2 Ukrainian armed forces tanks near Kolodiazne with KVN attacks. Judging by the footage, one was a T-72 and the other a T-72B tank. As a result of several FPV drone attacks, both tanks were wiped off the map. This operation appears to have been quite easy for Russian drone operators. Another Turkish-made armored vehicle used by Ukrainian forces was destroyed in the Lyman direction. An FPV drone operator rendered the vehicle unusable. A mobile air defense unit shot down a Ukrainian drone in the border region. Russian drones destroyed Ukrainian armed forces units advancing along the Dnieper River near Kherson. A munitions-carrying drone destroyed a Ukrainian boat with a massive explosion. Russian drone operators are monitoring resupply routes. In modern warfare, there is a simple rule. Just because the road is open doesn't mean it will stay that way. When planning routes, both sides actively use FPV drone ambushes, so additional checks on logistics routes are always conducted. During one such check, operators from the Russian battalion simultaneously detected and neutralized 3 enemy FPV drones. A Russian operator discovered a Ukrainian 120mm mortar position during an aerial reconnaissance mission. 2 FPV drones then reached the position and destroyed the mortar. In the Monokinovka region, Russian UAV operators destroyed Ukrainian armed forces equipment attempting to disrupt Russian plans in Kupiansk. Numerous vehicles were destroyed one after another. Winter has slowly begun, and heavy rainfall and dense fog clouds are contributing positively to Russian advances. Drone operators from the 16th Special Forces Unit destroyed an enemy 2S-1 Gvozdika howitzer in the village of Rubtsi. The arrival of Russian Gorans at a military facility in Kharkiv in the morning hours. The enemy decided to establish protective corridors for its equipment, but the 70th Division of the 18th Combined Arms Army still has areas where Phobos can operate. The fiber-optic drone did not attempt to penetrate the networks, but reacted quickly to the opening gap and collided with a Ukrainian armed forces armored vehicle. Footage of Ukrainian forces completely destroying a BK depot in a section of the Sumy front. An aircraft-type UAV destroyed the depot. Russian UAV reconnaissance operators quickly identified 2 Ukrainian UAV control centers. After a few precision strikes with fiber-optic cable drones, they destroyed the positions. An FPV UAV was shot down from a distance of approximately 30 meters by a double shot from Dronoboy barrel-type devices as it approached to attack the fighter's shelter. In the video, parachutists and motorized riflemen affiliated with the Sever Group appear to be striking enemy forces on supply routes in the Sumy region with FPV UAVs. ATVs stand little chance against FPV drones. In the Kharkiv region, a 155mm wheeled self-propelled 2S-22 Bodana gun mounted on a Tatra T-8-157 chassis belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces was destroyed when KVN fiber-optic FPV UAVs struck it directly in its firing position. A KVN fiber-optic FPV drone operator collided with a buggy-style vehicle carrying Ukrainian armed forces infantry. Near Petrovka village, the Zala team of the Rubicon Center recorded a shot fired from a Caesar self-propelled artillery weapon belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces. Late in the evening, the Lancet Dam ammunition team opened fire on the target. The distance from the firing point was 65 kilometers. In the direction of Konstantinovka, Russian artillery destroyed the temporary staging area of Ukrainian troops.
Выстрел!
A scene from combat operations carried out by the crew of a Russian Armed Forces T-90 tank in a military operations zone. A small fire broke out for unknown reasons. Everything is under control. No one was injured. The enemy continues its attempts to resupply the garrison in Stepnohursk under cover of fog. The 247th Regiment's Guard paratroopers destroyed another enemy armored vehicle belonging to the Ukrainian armed forces, a Dutch-made YPR-765 armored personnel carrier using a fiber-optic FPV drone. The failed launch of an unknown rocket at a test site in Russia's Orenburg region. A citizen recorded the entire event on their cell phone. What do you think could be the reason for this rocket's failure?
Нихуя, думал, вниз полетит.
Упало что-то.
Да это...
Да, пизда.
В натуре?
Да, ты чё, она падает уже все.
Ебать. Держись, нахуй. Да ну ебать. Держите меня, я снимаю. Нахуй.
Что, упало? Да, упало.
Russian armed forces FPV drone operators spotted 2 Ukrainian soldiers moving among the ruins of destroyed buildings. Subsequently, FPV drones landed one after another in the wooded areas where they were hiding. The 2 Ukrainian soldiers escaped unharmed from among the trees and ran to hide in the buildings. Several more FPV drone attacks followed. Russian forces near the scene called on the Ukrainian soldiers to surrender. The smart men used their heads and surrendered. Follow us on Instagram for more videos.
Еще раз. Позывной, фамилия, имя, отчество, по должности кто?
Карась Виктор Алексеевич, солдат, стрелок.
Садовый Артем Васильевич, старший солдат, стрелок.
The Russian fiber optic drone was in standby mode for ambush. First, a Ukrainian soldier passed by. The operator waited calmly. Then, upon seeing the second Ukrainian soldier, he activated the propellers. The Russian drone operator flew the drone toward the second Ukrainian soldier. Soldiers from the 16th Special Forces Brigade are on duty. They identified and neutralized Ukrainian Armed Forces personnel hiding in residential buildings in the Yarovaya area. This is further proof that they are hiding among civilians in residential areas. All buildings where Ukrainian forces were hiding were destroyed by powerful explosions. Soldiers from the 305th Artillery Brigade of the 5th Army and the 14th Special Forces Brigade of the Vostok Military Group worked together to locate and destroy a D-30 artillery piece belonging to the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the direction of Hulyai Pole.